everybody, it's Julie. Thanks for joining me here today for a Bible journaling process video using the Acts of Prayer collection. So I'll be using some of the elements from the physical kit as well as the Faith-Filled Digitals. And I am here in Luke chapter 22 verses 39 through 46. And this is where Jesus prays, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." This is when he goes out into the garden before he's arrested. But as I was reading it, this passage right here really spoke to me. I'm going to read the whole thing. "He went out and made his way as usual to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he reached the place, he told them, 'Pray that you may not fall into temptation.' Then he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, knelt down, and began to pray, 'Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done.'" What really stuck with me, of course, the "not my will, but yours be done," that submission, that even the Son of God has to submit to his Father and his Father's will. He went out and made his way as usual. So Jesus had this custom of praying at the Mount of Olives in the garden. And it's important for us to have a prayer routine, a prayer place, a prayer chair, a prayer spot where we spend our time in prayer. And then that helps us to have that whole mindset of prayer throughout the day. We have that conversation with God in the morning, and then we continue that conversation throughout the day. So I'm going to be using these stamps and these precious daisies. These are from the Faith-Filled Digitals that I cut out, and I'm going to use the stamp daisy. And then I'm going to make a few daisies out of this print, which was the backing of the devotional. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to stamp some of these daisy flowers, just the outline, onto this patterned paper, the swirl, the tie-dye. I'm just stamping a whole bunch. I'm not exactly sure how many I'm going to use, and I'm going to fussy cut those out. Now I'm going to take that same outline stamp, the daisies, and I'm going to stamp the border of this page. I am here in my Illustrating Bible, and I'm stamping them off the page, if you can see that, because I want it to look like just a border, so some of the edge is off. And now I'm taking this swirl, and I'm going to stamp that along the border of the top and the bottom. This gets kind of messy, but I'm not too worried about that. Here, especially at the edge, and I find that I have to move my stamp over on my block so that those coils don't get in the way. And then I come in a couple places where I didn't get it complete, and I stamp over that again. Again, that's kind of messy, but that's fine. I'm not worried about that. It's supposed to kind of look messy. So this is going to frame the page. I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And now I'm going to cut out these flowers. I do that off screen because that took a while. So I just love the way those tie-dye flowers turned out. So I'm going to use a combination of the black and white flowers that I stamped, and then these tie-dye flowers that I cut out, stamped and cut out, and then the flowers that are solid color from the Faith-Filled Digitals that I've cut out already. So I'm layering those. I add just a little bit of adhesive underneath to get those stuck down. And now the larger flowers that came from the Faith-Filled Digitals, I'm going to add some dimension to those. And so I'm adding just a little piece of the double-sided foam tape to make those pop up just a little bit. And between all the three different types of flowers and then that dimension, it just looks like a field of wildflowers right there on my border. So I'm sticking those down, alternating between all the different ones, and so you've got the black and white that kind of show through. And now I'm trimming off those edges with my scissors. And I really like the way that border looks. So you've got the color there, and then just the black and white with the swirls. Now I'm going to place my title, and my title is As Was His Custom. It was Jesus's custom to pray, and it should be my custom to pray as well. And if I don't get that prayer time in the morning, it should be so much a part of my routine that I miss it, that I'm going through withdrawal. Kind of like if I don't have my cup of coffee, then I'm going to get a headache. I need that time with the Lord. This should be so much of my custom, so much of my routine, just like it was for Jesus, that if I miss it, I'm struggling, I'm going without. Because it is that time in the morning that sets us off, that gets us going in the proper mindset. It starts that conversation that we can then continue throughout the rest of the day. And I'm using the tie-dyed alpha stickers there, and I will outline those. And then in this little label, I'm going to put a heart, and I'm going to stamp the word prayer. As was his custom, and then the custom was prayer. So I'm outlining my alphas, and I'm using a 0.1, no, it's a 0.01, my micro pen. Now I'm going to outline my verses with one of my zebra mild liners. I come in and darken that up just a little bit to make that green a little bit darker, and I underline the key words, which is as usual. And then when Jesus says, pray that you may not fall into temptation, began to pray, and then again I underline, not my will but yours be done. Okay, so now I'm taking this tab that has the swirls at the bottom. This is going to go at the top of my page, and I use the Wordfetti sticker that says pray. Now this is a sticker, so it is sticky on the back side. So I'm actually going to come in and add a little bit of that same pattern paper that I cut the flowers from. I cut out using my tab punch, my We Are Memories Keeper tab punch. I cut out a tab, and I'm going to put that on the back. Just figuring out where to place that. I also put a little circle with a heart in it, and that's going to be my tab. I'm going to end up adding a flower and another heart to it. Here's that flower, and that kind of covers up some of the stuff that's showing. You can see that clip, some of those clips, we're just seeing the back side. So by adding a little bit more up at the cluster up at the top, it covers up some of that stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp the word prayer from this stamp set. This page is pretty easy, very simple. Just use the flowers, and the only ink I'm using is a black ink pad. What takes the longest is cutting out those flowers. But I don't mind fussy cutting. I just do it while I'm watching something, or in a meeting, or in training, or just sitting there chatting. Now I'm going to add some black splatter paint to this page. I used my Illustrated Faith watercolor pans, and I just get a wet paintbrush and I just splatter that on my page. I like black to anchor the colors. I'm going to outline that heart right there. Now I'm going to come in and make some lines for my journaling. I have a lot of journaling that I want to do on here, so I'm going to make some lines, and I actually just drop down 2 lines of text. That gives me enough room there for my lines. And I'll do my journaling off screen, and then I'll read what I wrote. I'm going to add a little bit of more stamping just to block off my verse and the art marks around my title. Here's what I write for my journaling. It was the custom of Jesus to go out early and pray. Prayer must be made a priority. Even Jesus made it so. When we have a meaningful, devoted routine of prayer, we begin that conversation with God, which then allows us to pray continually throughout the day. We are simply continuing that conversation. This in turn helps us to submit our will and wishes to His and to not fall into temptation. And I'm going to come in after I finish the video, before my still shots. I'm going to come in and add one of the journaling cards, the yellow one that says, "Realign my heart to yours, reorder my loves, Lord." I'm going to add that and just make a hinge and put that on over top of this journaling so that I can flip it open and read the journaling, but it adds a pretty little decor element to my page, and you'll see that in the still shots. I date stamped my page at the bottom, which is a little bit off screen. Going to add a little bit of the highlighter washi tape from Illustrated Faith just up to the tab. And here are some still shots of my page. You can see where I added that journaling card. So I do have all the products linked in the description box below, so make sure to check those out. Check out all the videos from the design team here on the Creative Retreat channel, as well as on the Creative Retreat blog. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, then leave them in the comments section. And until next time, take care. God bless. Bye-bye.